Guys, it's my pleasure to show you the Tippmann Arms M4 22 chambered in 22 Magnum. Let's start the video. There are a few times a year that a new rimfire comes out that I'm really excited about. This is a rimfire that I'm really excited about. I have known about this rifle coming to the market probably since last January or February. And basically what it is, it's a 22 Magnum in the Tippmann platform. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Tippmann rifles because of several reasons. They're accurate and they're reliable, but they feel like a real AR. So if you're looking for a good trainer AR, chambered in 22 long rifle, you don't have to compromise and get synthetic, really light stuff that doesn't really feel like a real AR. If you're holding this one in your left hand and a AR-15 chambered in 5.56 in this hand, they're going to feel identical on the weight. This thing actually functions. Everything on here is mil spec. So if you want to change out your handguard right here to another handguard, you can do it. You know, the buttstock here, if you want to change that out, you can do it. They actually have a forward assist that actually works. They have a shell deflector and the trigger. If you don't like the trigger, you want to go with a little bit lighter trigger, a heavier trigger, whatever, you can do that. That's one thing that I like about Tippmann, is because they make their firearms good to begin with. And if you want to customize them to your own liking, you can do it. So I've done a lot of videos on the 22 long rifle version of this, and the 22 long rifle version of this rifle, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, appeal to, you know, your backyard rimfire rats that like to shoot steel, tin cans. They like to compete. They may do some hunting with it, but that's what the 22 long rifle is for. It's a very versatile caliber. People who want 22 Magnum, probably 90% of them want it for one reason and one reason only. That is to small game hunt. And I'm not talking necessarily with squirrels, because if you shoot a squirrel with a 22 Magnum, there's not a lot of squirrel left. But larger rabbits like jackrabbits, raccoons, foxes, coyotes, bobcats, armadillos, things of that nature, the 22 Magnum is much better on those bigger to medium sized varmints than a 22 long rifle. It hits harder. It's flatter shooting, and I love the 22 Magnum. Now this rifle is threaded 1/2x28. I've got a Banish 22 suppressor on there, and if you already have a rimfire suppressor and you get a 22 Magnum, make sure it is rated for 22 Magnum, because not all 22 suppressors you can shoot Magnum loads through it. So got a magazine loaded up here, and I'm shooting some 40 grain Maxi Mags, and let's just do some plinking. All right. Whoops, got to get the stock folded out. And with the 22 Magnum, there is no recoil, and that bullet gets there quick. All right, let's try the 4-inch plate at 100 yards. Nailed it. Nailed it. 2 shots, 4-inch plate, 100 yards. Definitely minute of squirrel. Let's go for the prairie dog right beside it. Nailed it. 75, 60, 50. All right. And one thing I do like about the rifle, it has a last round hold open. So if you see their magazines, right here, there's a little tab right here on the back. That's actually for 2 functions. First, you can press it down to start that first round. Okay, it's easier to start the first round. But as the ammunition goes up, this little tab catches internally your bolt catch. So in the last round, that tab pops up, catches the bolt catch, which allows this rifle on the last round to hold open. A couple of more things that we need to talk about. It does come with a 16-inch barrel, and it also comes with a nickel-plated bolt, okay? This will ensure reliability when you're shooting, and we're about to test the reliability on this rifle here in just a moment. Now, the rifle, of course, does not come with the scope. This is my scope, but it does come with a flip-up rear sight and a flip-up front sight. So if you want to take those off and throw an optic on there, you can. All right, this is the part of the video when I'm talking about hunting. People are going to want this rifle for your medium-sized varmints. I actually took this rifle to South Texas back in April, And I took my buddy Chris, who works for Tippmann Arms, down there to try it out in the field, to see if it's reliable, see how it functions, to see actually how it worked out in a real world scenario. And if you know anything about South Texas, the heat, the humidity, the sand, the salt in the air, it can really play a toll on your equipment. So it's a good test. So we went out and we went hunting. Now, I know a lot of you do not like hunting. So I'm about to show you a couple of minutes section of me hunting. And if you want to fast forward this video, because we shoot a lot of animals. Well, he shoots a lot of animals, but you can fast forward to this time right here and you will bypass the hunting video in South Texas. But for the ones who want to watch it, enjoy. All right, welcome to South Texas. I spent about 3 months out of a year down here guiding and also helping my friend out on his ranch. And we're after some jackrabbits, javelina, hogs, bobcats, coyotes. It didn't take us long to see our first jackrabbit. Boom. That 22 Magnum hits them hard. So we're using the CCI segmented hollow points. Here's another one. This one's probably out about 50 yards. Tell him to take his time, make a good shot. Boom, dropped him. Now, here's another one. This one's out at probably about 100 yards. He shot him, he went a little ways in and passed. This one's about 15 yards, a little close. And right after he took that shot, I was like, hey, there comes some javelina. They're about to come out across the road. So I was like, get ready, get ready, get ready. So here's these two javelina popped out. Boom, boom, he missed twice, but there's a picture of his jackrabbit. That's how big these things are. And so we knew the javelina went in there. We snuck around. We got a good steady rest for him. I told him to take his time, put it right behind the shoulder. He did, made a perfect shot. And there's his first javelina. If you don't know anything about javelina, they are not a hog. They're actually native to Texas, and they're a big game animal, and they're actually in the rodent family. So after that, we were heading back and we saw this big boar out in the middle of the road. And I told him to take his time. He's never killed a hog before. It's probably about 75 yards out. And I told him just to put it right behind its ear. Boom, right behind its ear. He never even kicked. So that was Chris's first boar, or first hog in general. So he made a really good shot right behind the ear. And the next day we went to a different ranch. We're pulling through and we busted out a coyote. Boom, 200 yards as it was running. So, but this is my favorite hunt. I was using a woodpecker call, trying to call up a bobcat, and sure enough, I did. And he's never killed a bobcat. I told him to just put it right behind the shoulder. Boom. Bobcat was about 75 yards. That segmented hollow point went in, did his job, and boom. He was over with, done. So that was Chris's first bobcat. That 22 Magnum is no joke. As you could tell, 22 Mag is no joke. I was shooting these guys right here. This is a relatively new product by CCI. This is a polymer coated 46 grain bullet traveling at 1,875 feet per second, but it is a segmenting hollow point. So once that bullet went in about 2 inches into the animal, it segmented and it made really good clean kills on all of them. So I've got 5 different kind of ammunitions here in front of me in 22 Magnum. We're going to see if this rifle will, function test all of them. So the first one I'm going to go to is, these are 50 grain Federals. Okay, they come in a box like this right here. These are 50 grain traveling at 1,530 feet per second. I have been shooting the Maxi Mags, which were 40 grain. So this is a 10 grain heavier bullet, and it is traveling a little bit slower. So let's see if this rifle will function test it. All right, bolt held open. It will shoot 50 grainers just fine. Right here, let's go on the opposite end. These are 30 grain VMAXs. Looks in a box like this right here. And these guys are scooting at 2,200 feet per second. Rimfires can be funny when functioning the bolt if the bullet is too light. So this will be the ultimate test. So I think this is the lightest grain 22 Magnum on the market. Man, they get there quick. Now see, with the lighter grain, the bolt didn't hold back. So there you go. Now I'm gonna load up some Federal punches, and I'm going to load up exactly what I was shooting, some of these 46 grainers. So let me get these magazines loaded up. We'll shoot some more. All right, now I'm gonna try some Federal Punch. These are 45 grainers. The box says 1,100 feet per second, but that's only out of like a 3-inch pistol, because these are self-defense loads. I would think that these are probably pushing around 1,900 to 2,000 feet per second. I don't know that for a fact out of this rifle, but I know they're scooting and it's a 45 grain bullet. So see if they'll cycle these Federal Punch. All right, cool beans. Cycle the Federal Punch. Now we're gonna try some of the 46 grain, traveling at 1,875 feet per second. These are the polymer segmenting hollow points that I took on the hunt. All right, good to go. So it will cycle all of the ammunition from the 30 grain all the way up to the 50 grain. Now let's go over here to the bench and set up a target at 100 yards and see how accurate this rifle is. All right, my favorite part of the video. We're going to test the accuracy at 100 yards on this Tippmann 22 Magnum. I'm going to be shooting some 40 grain CCI hollow points. These are traveling at 1,875 feet per second. Now this is probably the most common hunting round in 22 Magnum that's available, and they are devastating on small and medium-sized game. And we're going to shoot 2 5-shot groups at 100 yards, and just to see how accurate this setup is. Now you got to remember, this is a target platform. Okay, this is not a match platform, so don't expect, you know, 1/2-inch groups at 100 yards. You know, I'm thinking 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, maybe an inch. I don't know, but we're going to find out together. Now, I've only have a 10 power scope on here, so it's going to be hard to get really small groups, but I'll try my best. All right. Target down there at 100 yards. Okay. Do some adjusting here. All right, we should be kind of good there. All right, here we go. Now we're going on groups here. We're not going for center of the bullseye. If it hits the center of the bullseye, so be it, but you can always move your scope. All right, there's one 5-shot group, if I did my Tennessee math correct. I can't see where I'm hitting. Okay, again, I only have a 10 powered scope. So I'm gonna go for another 5-shot group, and I'll go down there and retrieve my target. Okay, did the bolt hold open on the last shot? It did. All right, I can't tell what my groups are from here. I'm gonna go down and retrieve my target. Let's see what we got. All right, I retrieved my target downrange. This was my first 5-shot group. That's an inch group at 100 yards with a 22 Magnum target rifle. I'm really impressed with that. You know, you can always move your scope down a hair, over a hair, whatever. So we're going for grouping here that shows the accuracy of the rifle, not if I can hit bullseye, okay? The second group, that's about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. That's still really good for a target 22 semi-automatic 22 Magnum. But I am very, very pleased with this group. Now, if you get this particular rifle, you may want to try different kind of ammunitions. You know, you may want to try a 50 grain, a 30 grain, 46 grain. There's so many different kinds of 22 Magnum out there that you can try for hunting. This is just what I decided to shoot. I didn't want to go through all the spill of the 10 different kinds of 22 Magnum ammunition that I have, but that is pretty good. That's definitely minute of squirrel, minute of coyote at 100 yards, and possibly even 200 yards shooting that kind of group. So, in my opinion, I love it. I like it. I'm glad that someone came out with a good quality semi-automatic 22 Magnum in an AR platform. I'm gonna do a lot of hunting with this thing this fall and this winter, but guys, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Until next time, y'all be safe and keep plinking.